Today, we're diving into the incredible story of a man named Rahim. Seriously, this guy went from selling snacks from a street cart to becoming a CEO. And the secret, well, it wasn't money and it wasn't luck. It was all about his mindset. And once you really get it, it might just change how you see things too.
So, let's just start with a big question, right? How on earth does someone with basically nothing, we're talking just a rusty old cart at a noisy bus station, completely rewrite their future?
And yeah, I'm not exaggerating. This wasn't just about him getting a slightly better job. He literally built an empire from scratch, an empire that ended up employing hundreds of people. You have to ask yourself, how is that even possible?
And here's the answer, the absolute core of this whole story. The secret wasn't some lottery win or a lucky break. Nope. It was something that, honestly, any of us can build for ourselves. A specific, really powerful mindset.
This right here, this single sentence from Rahim is the key to everything. He knew he couldn't just snap his fingers and change his circumstances. But what he could control 100% was his effort. And he believed that was more than enough to change his entire future.
So, let's go back to the beginning, to Rahim's incredible attitude. And this wasn't just some fake positivity, it was a conscious decision, every single day, to focus on what he could do instead of what he didn't have.
And you can see the choice he made so clearly here. I mean, after his family lost everything, it would have been so easy to just get angry and complain, right? But Rahim took a different path. Instead of cursing his fate, he decided, I'm going to change my effort. Instead of complaining, he said, I'm going to be the best vendor in this city. And instead of giving up, he just decided to keep moving.
Okay, so with that mindset locked in, Rahim turned his daily grind into his own personal university. You see, for him, that street corner wasn't some dead end. It was his classroom.
And his main tool was so simple but so brilliant, a beat-up old notebook he called his book of lessons. Every day, he'd just write down what he noticed, about business, about people, about life, turning everything he experienced into actual practical wisdom.
And look at the kind of stuff he was learning. These aren't complicated business strategies. They're fundamental truths about people. Smile, even when it's slow. Don't get into it with a rude customer. Listen more than you talk. And this last one is gold. A happy customer will bring two more. He figured that out long before social media.
So he stuck to these principles day in and day out, and eventually that dedication led to this one single moment, an opportunity that showed up disguised as a storm, and it was about to change his life forever.
Picture this. One evening, it is pouring rain, a total downpour. Every other vendor packed up and went home hours ago, but not Rahim. And that's when a powerful, well-dressed businessman named Mr. Kamran walked up to his cart. Now, Mr. Kamran is soaked, he's tired, and he's just amazed to see this guy, Rahim, still working and smiling. So he asks him this simple, direct question. Why are you still here, smiling when everyone else has just given up?
And Rahim's answer, wow, it summed up his entire philosophy. He didn't see the storm as an obstacle. He saw it as a test of who was willing to keep going. Mr. Kamran was so blown away by this that he offered Rahim a job on the spot, a chance to learn the real world of business from the inside.
And that right there, that was the turning point. That one rainy night kicked off Rahim's unbelievable journey from a vendor on the street to a real leader in business.
His path was just a masterclass in humility and pure hard work. When he started as a trainee, yeah, he struggled with things like computers and English, but he was never afraid to ask questions. And that hunger to learn just shot him up the ladder, from supervisor to operations manager, until he knew that business inside and out. And the whole time, he was driven by another core idea. He saw gratitude as this essential bridge. It was the thing that connected his past struggles to his future success. It kept him humble, it kept him focused, and it kept him grateful for every single step.
So after years of learning, working, and saving every penny, Rahim was finally ready to build his own dream. And this is where we see his whole life's philosophy come together.
He opened up his own cafe, called it Rahim's Corner, and the entire business was built on the lessons from that old notebook. Look at that slogan. It wasn't just about selling coffee. It was about serving with honesty, leading with heart, and growing with gratitude. His mindset became his business model. So, the big question is, did it work? Well, the results kind of speak for themselves, don't they? People loved it. His approach connected so deeply with customers and his own employees that in just 5 years, that one little cafe exploded into a chain all across the city.
So when a journalist finally sat him down and asked, "What's the secret?" this was his first answer. It wasn't about his circumstances, being poor. It was about his identity. He never saw himself as a poor vendor. He saw himself as a learner. And that changes everything.
And his second secret is just as big. He totally reframed the idea of failure. For Rahim, a mistake or a setback wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't defeat. It was just a signpost, a little nudge telling him, okay, try going this way instead.
And that brings us to the ultimate moral of his incredible story. And it is so clear. You don't need a bunch of money or a network of fancy connections to start. You just need the right attitude, your mindset. That's your real starting capital.
And this is the final piece of wisdom Rahim leaves us with. It's all about pouring everything you have, all your faith, all your effort, into the small, everyday things. Because if you do that consistently, one day all those small things will add up to something truly great.
So that really brings the question back to us, doesn't it? After hearing Rahim's story, what is one small thing, maybe at your job, at home, or with a personal goal, that you can decide to do with great faith, starting today?